A gas mask, jerry-rigged to pump air, is the only thing keeping this sewer diver from choking on toxic fumes. Every day, tens of thousands of people do one of South Asia's deadliest jobs.
सर दे करके मतलब काम कमाना खाना पड़ रहा है.
As long as underground sewers have existed, it's been someone's job to keep them clear. Now, a robot could end this dirty business once and for all. Meet the Bandicoot. It has 4 expandable legs, 4 cameras, and a carbon fiber body capable of lifting over 250 pounds. A retractable hose and articulating shovel can access places that previously only human hands could reach. Hands like those of full Kumar Mandal, who used to jump into manholes before he got a job operating the robot.
थोड़ा कम ही लगता है, लेकिन पहले तो पूरा हाथ से उठाना पड़ेगा ना, उस टाइम थोड़ा ज़्यादा टाइम है.
The Bandicoot is part of a wave of robots maintaining cities' mostly unseen but absolutely critical infrastructure. And that's good news, because clogs aren't only a problem in South Asia. Pipes are stopped up everywhere, including some of the global north's richest cities.
More fat's just going to stick to that, and it's going to get bigger and bigger and clog up your whole pipe.
So why are sewers around the world getting so much worse? And what can cities do to prevent from drowning in worldwide waste? First, can we just take a minute to appreciate the miracle that you can wake up, walk 4 steps, do your business, and flush it far, far away? Many early civilizations had open sewers in the streets. And up until a few hundred years ago, people oftentimes just threw their waste out the window. Things didn't start to change until the Industrial Revolution, as city populations exploded, and a deadly disease started to spread around the world. Cholera killed millions of people over the course of the 19th century. It's a real nasty way to die. Diarrhea and vomiting until the body runs out of fluids. It took decades for science to reach a consensus that the pathogen spreads through water. And how'd they solve it? Beer. Scientist John Snow noticed that in one neighborhood, those who drank beer rather than water from a contaminated well survived an epidemic. By the late 1800s, the world's largest cities kicked off massive sewer building projects. The designs were grandiose and kind of beautiful. In Paris, the sewers became a tourist attraction. Nowadays, much of the world's population relies on an unseen network of pipes and tunnels to carry away their waste. All sewer systems rely simply on gravity. In the modern era, the biggest innovation has been the addition of pumps that can help the sewage flow uphill. That's it. The most important technology in city planning hasn't changed that much in hundreds of years. And there is the problem. Cities grow, but their sewers can't keep up. When the London sewers were being built in the 1800s, Sir Joseph Bazalgette doubled their size from the original designs. Smart move. But now, the poop is hitting the fan, as are the used cooking oil, baby wipes, and other things that people flush but sewers were not designed to handle. And shifting climate patterns mean that cities regularly get hit with heavier rains and rising sea levels. All that water can cause sewers to back up into the streets. So, cities have to build bigger and bigger tunnels that come with a huge price tag. In many cities in India, it's cheaper to find people willing to unclog faulty pipes by hand, even though this work has been illegal since 2013. Abolishing manual scavenging is what inspired the founders of Genrobotics. The company claims that robots like the Bandicoot will actually end up being cheaper over time and eliminate the danger for workers. The 4 co-founders didn't set out to clean sewers though. They started out making robotic exoskeletons in college.
We felt the limitation of a human can be drastically improved using technology. So we can do extraordinary stuff like Iron Man.
They shifted their focus after a deadly sewer accident near their school.
The sanitation workers are working inside the manhole. They fell unconscious, and in order to help them, this auto rickshaw driver also tried, and he also fell unconscious and died.
Going from Iron Man suits to sewer robots wasn't easy. The first challenge, understanding India's old and complex sewer systems. The second problem, the manual scavengers feared this invention would put them out of work.
They know that we are going to build a robotic device for doing their job, and they are really scared of letting this job go away. Even though everybody say this is an inhuman task, nobody like to do it.
Research shows that 80% of Indian sewage workers die before the age of 60 because of health problems.
और मुझे गैस भी लग सकती है, मेरा सांस भी घुट सकता है, मैं सीवर के अंदर मर भी सकता हूँ.
Genrobotics set out to educate thousands of scavengers on the dangers of their job, while also hiring some of them to operate the Bandicoot.
वो नीचे जाएगा, वो अंदर तो पूरा गैस है वो. हाँ भाई, पूरा देश में होना चाहिए. ये तो अच्छा है ना, सबका लिए अच्छा है, हमारे लिए भी अच्छा है.
Now, the company is up and running with almost 300 robots in 18 out of India's 28 states. Sewers in India are especially bad because its dated systems can't keep up with the booming population. According to India's Central Pollution Control Board, fewer than half of the country's centralized sewers work effectively. Bandicoot robots get to a cleanup site on the back of a truck. Unlike when they go underground without protection, the crews now wear hard hats, high-visibility vests, gloves, and boots.
अभी तो अच्छा लगता है भाई काम के लिए. वो पहले हाथ से करता है ना, पूरा हाथ कचरा होएगा. वो खाना खाए वो नहीं निकलेगा भाई, हाथ से आएगा तो पूरा मुश्किल है.
Now, the only manual part of the process they still do is removing the manhole cover. Once the unit is in place, operators use the control panel to lower what they call the spider into a manhole. The arms help guide it, while cameras give the operator a close-up view.
So this thing works similar to a human hand, like it grabs waste, it collects waste, and the bucket comes to close it, and the waste is being taken to the top.
Sensors check for poisonous gas and trigger an alarm if conditions are dangerous. Manually cleaning is not only dangerous, it's also slow. Typically, teams of 3 to 5 scavengers could only clean 2 manholes per day.
For operating the Bandicoot robot, only 2 people is required, and they can clean up to 12 manholes.
India is home to 1.4 billion people. And Mumbai, the country's largest city, has around 22 million people. And there are dozens of other gigantic cities in India. The sewers in each one vary, so that means Genrobotics is always tweaking its designs.
That every Bandicoot is being custom made, like what Mumbai needs is not what Calcutta needs.
Today at Genrobotics plant in Palakkad, 3 Bandicoots will roll off the assembly line.
Normally we take like 4 to 10 days to assemble one robot with the same amount of manpower, like 4 to 10 people.
Cutting, bending steel pipes, and welding. Almost every step of production gets done in-house. And every part must meet the exact specs for a city sewer system. The software and design teams know the Bandicoot's operators might be former manual scavengers with little education. So they did their best to keep things simple.
We actually worked with Google and created a beautiful user interface system for doing this.
Genrobotics spent 2 years developing the Bandicoot before deploying it in the field. Workers assemble the frame housing the controls and the robotic spider arm 1 bolt and wire at a time. All the sensitive electronics have to be waterproofed. Building by hand slows assembly time, but the company says it's the only way to ensure quality control. Genrobotics plans to standardize production eventually in order to scale up.
It's not an achievement, but it's kind of a blessing we got to serve the society.
But even maintained by innovative technology, sewers everywhere are failing. Why? First of all, the list of things that people flush has gotten longer over the years. More wet wipes, food, and cooking oil enter the system than ever before. Underground, their powers combine to create the unholy monsters known as fatbergs. Masses of inorganic materials and grease that can block entire tunnels. Fatbergs prompted politicians around the world to discourage or even ban non-flushable wipes. So far, these laws have failed to make an impact. In 2021, California passed a law that merely required the makers of sanitary wipes to label their products with a "do not flush" warning. And in the UK, lawmakers are pushing a total ban on selling drain-clogging plastic wipes. It's their third try in 5 years. Secondly, the huge fixes that some places need are getting way more expensive. For example, when it was first built, the London sewer system cost nearly £400 million adjusted for inflation. Back then, London's population sat at just 2.6 million people. Now, 9 million residents flush more than at any time in history. The city is completing a 15-mile underground tunnel to transport overflow to treatment plants instead of dumping it into the Thames. This single project cost almost £5 billion, 10 times the cost to build the entire sewer system in the 19th century. And thirdly, we've entered a new era of climate change, with heavier storms that test sewer capacity more often. New York City's sewers handle both wastewater and storm runoff. Every time a thunderstorm hits the city, the storm drains can back up, spilling billions of gallons of raw sewage into waterways every year. And the flooding can be deadly. In 2022, 11 people drowned in their homes when severe rains overwhelmed the sewer system. So it seems that no matter what cities do, they'll never be able to keep up with their own crap. The modern marvel of flush toilets opened a Pandora's box of problems right under our feet. But there are alternatives. Historically, farmers came into cities and paid for human waste to turn it into fertilizer. Startups are looking into recycling urine to return nutrients to soil. And dry composting toilets are a proven way to let waste break down without water. So the next time you have to go, just think about where what you flush away might end up.